Remember, there was this post recently where someone discovered that Lexus is just a luxury Toyota, Infiniti is just a luxury Nissan, or an Acura is just a luxury Honda. Well, a luxury Mazda is still a Mazda. Hey everyone, Vince here from AutoIndustriya.com, and what I have for you is the Mazda CX-90. This vehicle, some of you may be asking, what's the difference from the CX-9? Well, a lot. While it does share a lot of the same style, kind of design cues and all that, this is a very different vehicle and definitely more upmarket. That is actually the purpose of the CX-90. Mazda wanted to be able to retain their customers who want to buy something more luxurious or upgrade from a CX-9, and they realized that, hey, they were going to other brands. And why don't we just create something that fits their specific needs? They want size. And when you look at the vehicle, it's big. Like the width of this one, it's 2 meters wide, well, almost exactly, when we measure it from the actual body of the vehicle, not even including the side mirrors. The length of the vehicle, you can see from that camera angle, it's 5.1 meters long. It's practically like a pickup truck in terms of its length. But what we really like is the way they did the styling of the vehicle. It's very elegant, especially in this shade of red. I think this is actually cost extra, meaning you pay to get this color for your CX-90. But what do we like? We like the front grille. You do have the Mazda logo here with the, I guess, the encasing in the plastic or something. That also serves as, I think, one of the sensors for the vehicle when you're driving, because this one does come with the iActive Sense package, which gives you things like radar, cruise control, and the like. Now, when you look at it, again, from that angle, it's a huge car, and it has huge 21-inch wheels with Toyo Proxys tires. And let me tell you now that the bias of these ones, these are going to be a bit on the handling side, which is something we found when we were driving the CX-90 around. Since Mazda is trying to go more upmarket, they resisted the urge to put any fancy lines or character lines all around the vehicle. They're going for elegance here, and clearly I think they did achieve that. Wheels are very nice. The long hood is because of the inline six underneath. I'll show you in a bit. But it gives the impression of a grand touring kind of SUV, which is a style that I personally like. They have these door-mounted mirrors, also very nice. Little trim there again. The shade, the way the light hits it is also fantastic. When you pop open the door, you see that you've got a nice tan interior. Same for the back. And by the way, the door here, it opens up really, really wide. You have to be careful with the spaces you park at because it is a wide vehicle, plus the door goes out quite a bit. And it's a 3-row SUV, meaning 1 row here, 1 row there, and another one over in the back. The rear of the CX-90 also very nice. They resisted the urge to put any tailpipes or anything. They just kind of tucked it all in, made it look as clean as possible, and I think that's a good thing. Now you do have CX-90 all-wheel drive here, Mazda logo, and then the, what was here? eSky Active G, and it's a turbo, of course. But popping open the tailgate, let's talk the cargo space. It's, of course, a power tailgate, and you can adjust it depending on how high you want it to go. But the cargo area, the way it is right now, it's about 21 inches there, and then 49 to go up to here, this little pocket here. There is a compartment underneath for tools and such, but underneath that, when you lift this whole tray, there is a spare tire, albeit it's a space saver. This rear seat, being a 3-row, you can fold it down. You pull this, it drops the headrest, and then you fold it down there, and then another one here, fold it down. And when you do that, the space goes up to around 50 inches, and then the width there is about, I think, 45. The height is about 29 inches overall. It's just kind of surprising that Mazda didn't put in a power system to be able to do that. I mean, again, this is their flagship. We would have expected that they would have gone for something, you know, a bit more motorized in some of the things here. You do have hooks here, 12-volt outlet here, light over here, nothing up top. There's also no tonneau cover. That's something I was looking for when I was shopping the other day. Anyways, let's look at what's under the hood, because it's pretty interesting in there too. Now here is where it gets interesting. What is under the hood of the vehicle? Now, if you've seen my video of the CX-60, same thing. It's a 3.3 liter inline six engine with an all-wheel drive system that is kind of rear biased. Now, what makes this different is that it's also a hybrid, because between the engine and the transmission, there is an integrated motor giving you extra power and extra torque. From that camera, you can see that the engine bay is actually quite long. And the reason for that is that an inline six does sacrifice on the space. It takes up a lot of space inside a vehicle. That's why a lot of car makers don't really use that. They really go for a V6. So for Mazda going for an inline six, it does sound better, granted, but it does sacrifice when it comes to the space inside. I'll show you right now. If you have any notions that you're gonna treat this as a family car for 6, well, maybe not. Because me sitting here right now, yeah, this is not for me. My knees are, if you can see, it's already high up because the floor is high up because of the fuel tank, battery, and all that stuff underneath there. So it's a real compromise. Plus, the railings for these seats, it kind of really hampers the footwell in this vehicle because, well, unless your feet are about that narrow, you can't get it in there. And also, because of this center armrest for the middle row, I can't have my feet, my size 10 shoes, like straight like that. It has to be at an angle like that because, yeah, it's really not great. For kids, this will work. But again, I think I would rather they just have removed this and went with a full-on 4-seater and, made it a bit more comfortable. But as you'll see when I go up here in the middle, there's also a compromise there. Okay, now that we're seated here, it's a nice place to be. The seat cushioning, very nice. It also has the ISOFIX anchors and all that if you want to put a child seat here. But if you just want to chill here and have someone do the driving for you, it's a pretty nice place to be. But there are a few things you need to know. For one, it doesn't have an ottoman, so you don't have the leg rest that motorized goes up from the floor or something to be able to give you more comfort on the long drive. But you do have quite a few amenities. I mean, you do have the sunroof there, the panoramic glass roof with a divider, a crossbar here, I guess, for rigidity and all that. And then you have 2 AC vents here. You have your own AC controls here in the back, including ventilated seats, 2 USB ports. There is a transmission tunnel because this is an all-wheel drive vehicle with a drive shaft going towards the rear axle. 2 cup holders. You got the armrest here, same as the one in front. And it is actually quite deep compared to what's over there, which is a good thing. But still, I think they could have done better here. I remember the compromise with this one. It's a bit strange, the compromises they had to deal with to work on the vehicle. But still, considering all of that, it's a pretty good place to be. And you've got a nice view of what's going on all around you. Still, I want to try out what's in front. In the third row and second row, we were talking about quite a few compromises. But here in front, zero compromise. That is what Mazda is known for. They make drivers' cars, and here you can absolutely see that. For one, now this is not the ideal driving position, but it just feels so natural to me. The steering wheel, fantastically positioned. My visibility of the actual digital gauge, very nice. The positioning of all the controls, the transmission control here, the knobs there, the screen there, everything is in perfect, really it's perfect for me. And I'm sure for a lot of other drivers too. And then you have the heads-up display, also very nice. It displays a lot of information. You won't be able to see it on the camera there. It's really reflected onto the windshield, but still, this is what Mazda calls this whole thing, Jinba Itai, meaning rider and horse as one. It's not a horse, but still, you know what I mean. You feel at one with whatever it is you're riding, whatever it is you're driving. You really get a sense of that here. But from an aesthetic standpoint, everything looks fantastic as well. I mean, the way they did the trim, the same Alcantara thing going on. They even have the Alcantara pad here. I mean, if you have kids with dirty hands, you may want to have wet wipes handy because this is really nice to the touch. Feels absolutely fantastic. The switch gear, the buttons here on the dual zone climate, at least here in front, also very nice. The buttons here, very nice. Steering wheel, again, they've got this two-tone effect going on with the tan leather and then the black rim around it. You have buttons for cruise control, the adaptive cruise control, audio system, all that stuff, the lane keep, really fantastic. Then you have the screen. The screen, the way they shaped it is also very good. It's not just a simple square or rectangular screen. It really does fit into the bezel very well. Tachometer on the left, speedometer in the middle, and then your fuel and your temperature gauge on the right. It's really a multi-info display. And the way they do the radar cruise control here, but you won't be able to see it with us being stationary, but it senses the vehicles, and you see these blocks moving around there. Those are the vehicles it's sensing up in front, and it does work very well. Now, Mazda likes doing these interiors that are very minimalist, and the challenge for a vehicle like as upscale as this is that it's going to have a lot of features, and the challenge is to not have a cluttered interior even while you have all the, the fun stuff going on with the vehicle, all the high-end features. Right here, you do have your screen. Now, it's not a touch screen, keep that in mind, but a lot of the features are integrated right there for the vehicle, for the infotainment. So you control it via this wheel here and all the buttons there. So roll up. I mean, if you tried some of the other MZD Connect, I think, equipped vehicles, this is pretty much familiar to you. You got the buttons, the control panel there. And then also for the Apple CarPlay and the Android Auto, yeah, it does have wireless CarPlay, but wired Android Auto. So, sad for me who uses an Android. But once I do plug it in, you can control it via, why was I listening to Get Jiggy with it? Anyways, when you control it, you have to use the wheel here to be able to go around the features of the vehicle, which you can't just touch it or anything. You can't do any of that. Same with this. You have to use the wheel. So keep that in mind. If you might end up with, you don't have to have fingerprints up there because there's no touch sensitive stuff going on there. Absolutely fantastic as well. It even has this view here. Can't really show it right now, but it does have the guidelines and all of that. So it's really good for something this wide and this long to be able to maneuver into tight parking spots. But what's nice here is that the Me Drive feature here. So this is how they control the different functions of the vehicle. This tab here. So when you have it in normal, let's see, it goes into the display here, the normal mode, and then you put it into sport. Everything goes red, which is also very nice. The way they do the graphics and the highlights is very nice. And then you have the other off-road mode. Not that you'd be doing off-road on a CX-90 with 21-inch wheels, but still, nice to have. I guess it optimizes everything to be able to handle loose surfaces and all that stuff. Anyway, so let's take it out for a drive and see what the CX-90 can do. Close the door, please. How a potential customer would feel about the CX-90 largely depends on where they're coming from, meaning what their perspective of the car is, of the brand is, so on and so forth. If you're looking at it from the perspective of, let's say, it's an upscale Mazda, meaning they just leveled everything up, yes, that is true. But in some ways, we can kind of look at it as a cut-priced BMW X5, albeit, Japanese. Because you look around the vehicle, it's like everything's impeccably built. The quality is fantastic. I've showed you this already, but just the way everything fits together, integrates together, it's just done so very well. The tolerances are really fantastic, and even how the doors line up with the AC vent receptacle, bezel, whatever, it looks great. And when you drive it around, you start to feel like, wow, the level of quiet you're getting, it's Lexus-like. Because all the sound deadening they put in is fantastic. Like all the tricycles, motorcycles, jeepneys, trucks. Inside, it's a nice muted hum. You can really enjoy just cruising. I'm not on EDSA right now. I'm on Marcos Highway. And on the new asphalt here, really, really good. And once the road opens up a little bit and you can step on it, the rush, like the rush from the 3.3 liter inline six they have under there, the turbo plus the hybrid system, is really good. I mean, we're not flooring it. We're not going to be doing that kind of thing today. But the feel is just great. That is what you want out of the vehicle. And even, here, to demonstrate the silence, there's an ambulance next to me. It's quiet in here. That's actually superb. Again, that's Lexus level. And one of the reasons behind that is the glass they use. Yeah, it's one of those double wall deals, and it works really well. You see the difference when you close the window, like with the beeping and such. It's just a huge difference overall in how the car feels. Now, when we drive it around, I mean, in terms of handling, it's also really good. If you're the type of executive that likes to roll up their sleeves and drive and have a bit of fun in the mountains, this is really good. I mean, like, it's pretty sharp. There's no like super lean going in there. They really sprung this vehicle well for the handling part. But the problem though, by springing it for handling, by prioritizing the handling, is that when it comes to the comfort, you feel a bit more of the road. It's not going to be like the most comfortable magic carpet ride that you can expect from a premium vehicle. That's not what the CX-90 offers up for you. You still feel a bit more. I think they could have really done well if they had some kind of adaptive suspension or magnetic dampers, that kind of thing, to be able to allow you to set it for comfort when you want it, and then set it for like sporty driving and handling when you want it, also up in the mountains. On the highway, it's actually getting really good figures. But in the city, it even surprises me because, again, this is a 3.3 liter V6. And normally, with these kinds of vehicles in city traffic, we would normally get around maybe 4.5 kilometers per liter. That is what we normally expect. But this one is averaging around 6.5. And it's been a lot of traffic that I've just been through right now. I think the average speed are around maybe 15 kilometers per hour. So pretty slow, definitely. And for something this big, that's actually really good fuel economy. Remember, we're talking about something that's kind of American sized. Well, American, I guess, would be one way to put it, but it does make me want to just kind of, if you notice, I'm not sitting at it like I normally would. Meaning I'm like forward up and then I have two hands on the steering wheel. I'm just like laid back, set back a bit. Even though I've done that, the driving position is superb. Meaning I can still reach all the controls, no problem. The steering is, I'm not overreaching to be able to drive it. I can still do the, that kind of lean if I really want to. Not that I would, because, my old mentor, may he rest in peace, Cookie Ramirez, would kick my ass if I did that. So, if when it comes to just driving around, cruising along, you can just relax in it, enjoy the leather, enjoy the silence, all that stuff with the vehicle. The CX-60 and the CX-90 do share a lot together, particularly the powertrain, the platform, and all that. And that means a lot of the things I said about the 60 I can kind of rehash and use into this one as well. And what I mean by that is this vehicle, it has great bones. Meaning it has a great structure, it has a great set of components already factored in and a great amount of development. What I think it needs is just fine-tuning. Fine-tune the transmission because it can feel a bit jerky when you're in traffic. And that's one thing to consider because, when you're shopping in this class of car, you want things to be sorted out for you. You don't want to have to, fix things along the way, that kind of thing. That is definitely a no-no. And the suspension I mentioned, this could really use an adaptive suspension system or some kind of adjustable magnetic suspension that would work wonders in the vehicle. Another thing, like I said earlier when I was sitting in the back, the rear seat legroom, footroom, that also needs work. But that might be a tougher fix because because of the hybrid battery and the thing going on underneath the middle row of the vehicle, which, when you think about it, the middle row of this vehicle is pretty much their prime seat. You know, because if it's marketed as an executive vehicle, then the executive is going to be seated there in the back, and let me tell you now, the feel of the seat on your back is pretty fantastic. But with the ride, the transmission, yeah, a little bit of fine tuning would go a long way in this vehicle to deliver something that's really fantastic for the customer base. I really like how Mazda is tailoring the CX-90 to their brand of drive, and we've seen it across the board with all of their models. But in the case of this one, I think they need to refocus what the vehicle should be, because a luxury vehicle should be, well, super comfortable. That's one of the priorities. Here, it seems like some of the things, like when it comes to concrete, it's not doing so well when it comes to the suspension. They can adjust that for this kind of vehicle. And personally, I think they should refocus what they want the CX-90 to be. As a 7-seater or 6-seater, not so sure. The third row, not really that great. Maybe they should just keep it as a 5, or even in this case, as a 4. I think that may work given the target market of a vehicle like the CX-90. Now, the price of this vehicle, it's 3.8 million. A little bit over because of the paint job. And I think that's a bargain, because when you compare it to what it would be naturally competing against, think X5. Those start at around 6 million and up. So when you look at it, it could be seen as a bargain. But hear me out on this one. There are very valid reasons why Toyota came up with Lexus, why Nissan came up with Infiniti, and why Honda came up with Acura. And that's because they wanted to market to a different clientele with a different type of vehicle. Maybe Mazda should do the same. Maybe come up with a new name for a brand that is more upmarket for their models. Any suggestions? Well, let us know in the comments below. This is Vince of AutoIndustriya.com. Thank you for watching.